Howdys and salutations, y'all. I know that Blender November was quite a step away from our usual fare, but I figured we're gonna do it a little more back to basics in December, especially because I suspect this is gonna be something of a spotty month in terms of I'm gonna not have consistent streams because we've got family and holidays and all that jazz. So, in the interest of doing something that's simple and fun, but still maybe something we can build on in January. I know I talked last time I wanted to create stickers, and I do still want to do that. But I think step one, let's stick with what we know and let's do a little more Elden Ring. Now, this isn't going to be like the other one where we were testing out styles and trying to refine and tweak and adjust. Now, I've got a fairly strong idea of what I want to end up with, at least for a couple of these. And then I think we'll just build from there. So hopefully we'll have slightly more consistently good results, because I know those were experimenting, and that's good, that's fine, and it's important, really. But it also doesn't necessarily result in the best, the best drawings, does it? So, let us just see. I want to start with a sort of template, because I want to do like a sort of basic chibi-ish type deal. I think it'd be fun. And so I want to do one pose and throw a bunch of the characters into it for now, and then we'll build from there. So step one of that is having a good template for the form. And a couple years back, I designed a custom stuffed animal template that I never got around to like producing in any meaningful way other than one test model. But the whole point of it was to be a sort of not a Funko Pop level of one form that you compress everything else into, but ideally a base that you could work off of for a lot of different types of characters. So I'm going to see if I can't get I call them the Marvins. And if you've seen the new Hitchhiker's Guide movie or the famous Martian, it's a little bit, it's not that similar to either, but it's somewhere in that area. New Hitchhiker's Guide movie, as if that didn't come out like 20 years ago. Let's get a pen color that's a little less. There we go, that's nice. And let's see if I am still capable of drawing circles. It's been a month since I've done much any of this, and so we will have to see. And don't worry, I'm sure we will come. Dagnabbit. Well, I'll just put away my file structure for now. I'm sure we'll come back to the Blender, to the Marching Gate, and some other ideas around that. I'd love the idea of a sticker set of a bunch of different monuments doing weird, like, poses. I feel like that would be a good time. So, we'll see. We shall see. One second, I gotta sort out my files. See. Let's see. Where do I put this? Where do I put this? Hey, okay. One second. Okay. Goes in drawings, and it just goes right here. And that will be good. It'll be its permanent location, and we'll just keep on going. Okay. Sorry about that interlude. I should mention that I am currently, I know I've complained, especially in the last few recent streams, about being extremely tired, so this week I'm dedicating to properly right-sizing my sleep schedule. The downside of that means that I am super out of sync when I normally wake and sleep, and it has thrown all of my brain off balance. So hopefully, a day or two more of this, maybe by the next stream we'll be a little more on track. Maybe. Or maybe not. Maybe I'll be horrendously off track still. Maybe even more so. But I'll try not to let that happen. Okay, I need to figure out... Just gotta get back and used to the brushes. Uh, hmm. They still just don't feel that... Oh, right, this isn't a vector layer. Well, in that case, a lot of the brushes still just aren't as satisfying as using an actual pencil and paper, and I don't know if there's anything I can do about that. You'd think I'd just get used to them, but it's been plenty of months now. And I'm mostly used to them, but it's still not as just easy or quick or enjoyable as going at it with a pencil and paper, you know? We'll see. But let's actually add a vector layer in here before we get too far. I would use the circle tool, but frankly I need to refresh on my circle drawing anyway, so let's just do a few. We'll treat this as a sort of warm-up. Trying to draw from at least the elbow and a little of the shoulder on these. Just drawing from the wrist can get you really good tight circles, but really bad big circles. Hey look, it's a character. Hmm. Okay, now I'm just getting silly with it, but yeah, that's kind of the point of things, ain't it? There, it person, sort of. Yeah, okay, we'll just put that away for now. But the point is circles, yeah. Yeah, a little better at it, a little better. Just gotta kind of refresh. Yeah, sorry, work has been killing me this week. A little bit of overtime here and there that I really shouldn't need to be doing. I've just signed up for slightly too many things. So that's very much on me. But it means that I'm having less time to prep for streams and regroup and all that other stuff. So yeah. I guess if I really wanted to be meeting the SEO, I'd be making like Pokemon Violet and Scarlet. I don't know why I want to say Violet and Sapphire. That's already a Pokemon game, and they're not both gemstones. Anyway, um, but yeah, unfortunately though, I haven't played it, and I'm still debating whether or not to, because on the one hand, it's clearly a very buggy, broken mess, and I don't want to encourage Game Freak to keep making broken games. But I'm glad they at least brought it into open world, and they seem to be trying to be on the right track, and that the story and everything at least makes some amount of sense. I was replaying Pokemon Sword the other day, and whoo boy, that story is hot garbage. It it's somehow incoherent and has bizarre political messages all at once, and I'm baffled. I'm right and truly baffled about how they got that. So I just I hope they got a little better with the story because I like Sword and like Sword. It's got interesting gameplay and some interesting ideas, although it obviously missed out on some other ideas too. But that's okay. Um, but I still like it had a lot of potential in there, and I'll admit I haven't gotten the DLCs. Once again, like the base game was kind of spotty. I didn't really want to spend more money on it, and it sounds like a lot of the DLCs were like the all the bizarre legendary quests, like the things you see at the end of Diamond and Pearl. And so many of those are grindy, tedious nightmares that I wasn't really just psyched about, you know, getting a whole DLC that was that. That is like my least favorite part of the Pokemon games, is the grinding. It's why I've been playing these things for like well over a decade. I started in Pokemon Black and White, which certainly isn't the oldest, but it's it's getting up there in years at this point. And I've still never even like I've never even seen a shiny in the wild, let alone caught one. I've seen my little brother encountered one once, a shiny Wingull, in one of the older games. Um, but other than that, I have And I've got some friends who are like super like dedicated all the way 110%, which I respect the heck out of that. But I can't spend 50 hours. I will say, with the new shiny searching system and chaining that they had in BDSP, Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, I did have a go at that because I actually weirdly I that was the first game in a long time where I've really gotten attached to my Pokemon, even well after the game ended. And I like even got through everything and went and did the end game, like post game and stuff. I haven't done that in a long time. Like that was really fun. Which is funny because I did play Diamond after Black and White. I did play Diamond back in the day, and I had a horrible time with it. I didn't even, I don't think I even beat the champion, let alone got to the end game or did any of it. Cynthia's stinking terrifying. Very awesome, very scary. And actually, I was so traumatized from my first encounter with her. Not traumatized, that's an exaggeration, but the my first encounter with her was so bad and haunted me that I didn't even realize that it was the one from Black and White and not the one from the other game. Because for the life of me, I could have sworn that her team in Diamond. Apologies. Her team in Diamond had a Spiritomb, and best as I can tell, it did not. But I could have sworn it did. Because that Spiritomb, I'm pretty sure just team wiped me the first time I met her in any game. Because somehow I let her build its evasiveness up, like really high, and then I could never land a hit on it. And that was early enough in my days that I didn't. I still don't really have builds that are good at countering like stat changes, but I definitely didn't even have like a concept of how one could do it back then. Now I at least get it. I'm just getting carried away in the music. This one's actually nice and not like screechy, or I accidentally opened Blender. Oh, Farron Woods from Skyward Sword. I've never played Skyward Sword. In terms of Zelda games, I've barely played any really. So the first one I attempted was like a Four Swords demo or something on the one of the DS or 3DS or something, and I hated it. I'm sorry, I did not have a good time. Straight up, not having a good time. Another one I attempted was Wind Waker because I was like, oh, I thought I liked the art style. I'd just seen like some of the characters, but then you meet Tingle, and then you meet the Nightmare Dog Guard things in that first jail island. And not only was I not enjoying a stealth mission, um, I didn't find it fun at all. That whole game I'd been playing up to that point, I was like, when's the tutorial gonna end? When are we gonna get to the actual gameplay? When are all these like cutscenes? But that was the gameplay, and I'm sure there's much more to it than that. But I was just straight up not in like it would. I didn't have as bad a time as I did in Four Swords, but I didn't have a great time, so I didn't get very far in it. I did also try A Link Between Worlds, and I actually got fairly far in that one. Never really like followed everything that was happening. Hey, Dado, was just talking about Zelda games. Yeah, because I tried Link Between Worlds, and I got to the second, for lack of a better word, phase of the game, which unlocks a whole bunch of dungeons. But all those dungeons, or at least one of them that I tried, you could do the whole thing, and if you died to the boss, you had to start from the beginning. And that was not fun. That was not a fun gauntlet. It was very tedious, and then you fight the boss for like 1 minute and lose because I'm not very good at those games. So I didn't. I did the first one I actually enjoyed was Breath of the Wild. How about you, Dado? Have you played any Zelda games? Ah, crikey, what is this arm? Let's give this another go, shall we? Aye, that's fair. Again, I'm not much of a Zelda connoisseur myself. I've technically never finished any, but Breath of the Wild I've gotten far enough that it probably counts. Um, yeah. It sounds like a lot of them are good fun, but it's definitely like not typically my cup of tea. Although again, Breath of the Wild is kind of its own thing. Let's see. I'm just sort of throwing down a template here right now. Really roughing that in. Yeesh. Let's see. So yeah, I'm doing low key. I'm gonna have a go at designing some stickers. We'll see. We'll see what happens. This month is probably gonna be kind of spotty with the streams, just with holidays and everything. So we're just gonna have to kind of go with it. But at least this week and next should be pretty consistent. Hey, nice. Doro Hedoro. I don't know that I know that one. I've always struggled with making OCs. Not that it's like hard or bad or anything wrong with it at all. I just like, oh, nice. I'll have to check it out sometime. But yeah, the fandoms that I grew up in, like there was so much stigma around making Mary Sue types that like I was always paranoid I was going to accidentally make an overpowered one and then get shamed for it. And so like all my characters are like really kind of bland, at least from those days. I'd like to think I've gotten a little better at it now from having to come up with Dungeons and Dragons NPCs and such. So what type of manga is Dorohedoro? And I just assume I'm pronouncing it right. I have no actual idea. Ah, okay, yeah. I'll just keep on doodling in the meantime. Let's see, I'll just. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of them get so out there, it's kind of hard to even summarize, or they go for so long. Ah, those aren't in the right spots at all. We can fix that later. So I'm still warming back up on Clip Studio Paint. It's been a month since I've really done anything significant in it. Just some title cards. So let's see. I get the proportions on this halfway decent to my reference. They still have the head up too high. That's okay. I'm creaking. They lived humans and sorcerers, but living separate lives. Ah, oh, that's an interesting quest. That is an interesting quest. There's a lot of different interesting ways you could go with a story like that. I can see that one being good. I ran out of like shows on my really excited to watch list, so I've been digging through some of the ones I saved as like, ah, this might be interesting. And I've run into a lot of really generic isekai. And I don't dislike isekai, but like, man, some of them are so cookie cutter. And it's like, I don't like there's so many good ones. There's so many clever ideas you can do with it. It's a shame that a lot of them don't bother. Oh yeah. Oh, that is an interesting one. Especially when you've got magic thrown into that kind of world. Yeah, no, I figured it was probably more in the line of like Mad Max-ish dirty as opposed to, well, I guess Mad Max probably has both definitions. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. Okay. Popeye looking arm. That that is not what I need. Okay. Gonna have to gonna wing this one a little bit. I don't think pulling it right from the ref is gonna be ideal. The ref being a real life stuffed animal I made a while back that I can pose. It always does morose looking poses. Yeah. Well, depend if the show's good enough, I can get past that. Not normally what I go to, but like, you know, if the rest of it's interesting, then I can work through it. Make this a little more relaxed and balanced, maybe. Yeesh. There we go. Yeah, it's always tough trying to compare adaptations. Like, because they're different media, so they kind of have to do different things. Um, and like yeah, well, I'm just making a base template right now, and I'm going to try to do a couple characters in this kind of pose. But I want to get the pose and the kind of proportions right first. This is just trying to tweak that a little bit. And then we'll get into specific characters. I'm sure at bare minimum we'll get the Merchant Kale, because he's just cool. And has a lot of interesting character details, so if he can survive in this template, then a lot of the others can. Oh, yeah, 3D style ones. Some of them can be really good, some of them are not. uh, Lest we discuss X-Arm. Oh boy. Admittedly, I've only seen the first episode of it, so I can't give a full critical review or anything like that. But, yeah, it was X-Arm. It's looking too crestfallen. Let's see if we can't make you a little less crestfallen. Yeah, I don't know. Like again, that's one of those things where if it's a good story, it can get through bad art, and if it's good art, it can sometimes get through a bad story too. Um, but obviously, it's ideal if you can get them both good. I'm just gonna have to improvise the arms. Tag nabbit. I should have practiced the arms, or figured out what arms should look like in this sort of style. This should be approaching from like over here. And that's too symmetrical and it looks off-putting. Yeah. I'm looking forward to having my sleep schedule fixed, hopefully in the next week or two, so I can actually do more stream prep. Work's been going crazy. Oh yeah, yeah. They're getting better at it, and they're getting better at integrating the 3D into other styles. So it's starting to work more. But yeah, I know what you mean. Um, the ones where they take it and do something unique with it are the ones that are faring better because they can adapt it to what works better for 3D and do good things with that. The ones where they try to make it like look like it's 2D but like pure 3D, there's still like a little sketch on a lot of those. How does this pose? No. The arms keep looking so buff. Not really what I'm going for. What's the actual arm position over there? Assuming it connects here, let's think about this. Hmm. It looks so tense, which I guess is fitting for a lot of the characters. Yeah, there's some we could do where that would work. But there's a lot more. Elden Ring, when it comes to characters, definitely seems to lean more towards these stoic, ominous types. That could work. More like a lean in, I'm here to tell you something kind of pose. Okay, yeah, let's go with that. See where we get. Maybe we soften the joints a little bit too. Maybe that's part of the issue. Like we don't have sharp joints on these. And if I want to go for like a cutesy style, maybe we go for shorter limbs overall too. That's getting closer. There we go. Just had to actually think. Whoops. Just had to think about it a little bit, and I got something that's closer to what I'm aiming for. Still looks weirdly buff, and to be fair, that was an issue with the stuffed animal too. If I've got that arm, then the seam sort of lands. I just kind of on that edge. Really, like that. Okay, let me just figure out the head's orientation. But yeah, there's some. The ones that always fascinate me in terms of the 3D stuff are the ones where they try to, like, where they really do try to hybridize 2D and 3D. Like, it's still really jarring right now, but they're getting better, and I feel like that one has a lot of potential. Yeah, I'm sort of going for something just kind of casual. Could be sitting on like the corner of a table or something. That's a wonky table. Or the corner of a wall, or just in the corner of a building. I mean, Elden Ring people just sit wherever the heck. So, let's see. This is kind of an upward. Well, it implies upwards if I follow the seams as they are in the stuffed animal. But if I think about actual face position, it's probably going to be something more like that, maybe two down. what I called so this I'm basing the posing. I'm using an old plush toy I'd thought about making a while. Um, and I never like I'm not gonna go mass produce it or anything like that. But sewing is still something that I find easier than 3D art or 2D art for that matter. Um, and so sometimes it's like, oh, I just made this. Maybe I can work with it as a posing tool. Um, but I call it the Marvin because it reminds me of the morose robot from the Hitchhiker's Guide movies a little bit, and a little of the Martian in shape, but most of the robot. Yeah, I forgot JoJo did it a bit. They didn't do it too much, and that one is so over the top anyway that it's hardly even like jarring because the style is crazy. Um, there was one show I watched recently that I personally didn't enjoy a whole lot. It was that I told you to make my abilities average in the next life. It was another one of those fairly generic isekai. It had interesting ideas, but for me the humor definitely fell flat. Um, but what was interesting was it had a. It's not a spoiler of this. They reveal it episode one like immediately and not as a twist. It's a fantasy world where all of the magic is like actually I don't know nanobots or something that react to people's brains. It was kind of an interesting magic system. But the nanobots were done in 3D animation and everything else was 2D, and that kind of worked because it showed them not really fitting in with the rest of the magical, more natural setting. And so they used the fact that it didn't mesh kind of intentionally. And I thought that was clever. But like I said, the rest of the show, not really my thing. Yeah, and horses are stinking one of the hardest things to draw and animate. So we'll see. We'll see what they choose to do. And the JoJo series sure has gone a lot of bizarre places, hadn't it? Okay, let's see. On the one hand, I like that. On the other hand, I'm definitely gonna have to adjust the face angle if I want these to actually be like decent looking stickers. But that's good for now. That'll be sort of our base template. Maybe I'll do like softer lines and we'll do another potential face pose in here instead of whatever I'm on 10. I need to like restart my driver or whatever again because it's made it where like dragging is a little sketchy. I don't know what causes that. It just seems to happen when I don't use CSP for a while. Clip Studio, that's the program I use. Oops. There we go. Kind of scratch that in, but at least it's an alternate face pose if I want to use it. When looking more at the camera. It kind of works too. It depends if I want someone looking morose or like they're actually paying attention to you. Whoa, what is this? That. Oh, that's right. I forgot. I knew someone who made a John VTuber. Don't know why that's open though. That was not what I meant. Where's the. Okay, fine. I'm gonna have to go dig out reference images for the actual Elden Ring characters. That's fine. Hmm. Man, it is so hard to find good Elden Ring reference images. It's either bizarre fan art or it's really bad screenshots. Like, there's ways to get better pictures than this, but I don't want to have to go and manually do it. um, let's see. There's also some actually cute fan art and stuff. I'm not saying it's all bad. Just a lot of it's weird. Because of course it is. I mean, it's fan art. And that always is going to go all over the place. Let's see. Put that away. Let's get this. Let's crack open PureRef, because that's just an easier way to manage this sort of stuff. Give me just a second, I'll get some references set up in here. Gotta, oops, gotta set these up real quick. Then I can add it to the stream. Oh, nice! Yeah, that's a good idea, using Hero Forge as a tool for that. I hadn't even thought of that. There we go, Merchant Kale. Oops, there we go. Okay, let's see. Oh, I gotta use the restroom, so I'm gonna go on pause for just a second, but I gotta show you, I did make a new pause screen for a minute. So I'll be right back in just a moment, and I'll go ahead and put that up in the meantime. And we're back. So yeah, that one's obviously very grainy and quickly thrown together, but figured the Steppy Gate would be a good pause screen for the future. I'll have to do a proper export of the high-res one at some point. But I figured I could wait until I learned to do that and put it off for another week and maybe forget about it in the holidays, or I could just throw something together real quick and at least have it. And there's one thing they say at work a lot that is a lesson that always bears repeating. It's never let perfection get in the way of good. Because either of them are better than straight up not doing it. And perfection has the bad habit of preventing us from finishing things. We want it to be perfect. I'm certainly guilty of that myself. Okay, let's get our Millipen out here. Let's get ourselves a new layer. Oh, right, that's the face. Um, I gotta label my layers again. That's right. Base template. Doodle face. I have a feeling I'm going to be in this file for a little while using this base template. So, yes, I would. Of course I would. This would be a good time for it, too. Whoops, that. Well, there's all the files. Not what I meant to open. Oops. Oh, crud. Steppygate, why are you here? Steppygate? Okay. Don't know what that was. Ah, okay. Let me crack open Discord and let's see. Ah, Discord is nice. If you want to share it on Discord, I mean. Or I can check out Insta. Ah, okay. Let's see. Didn't show it off. Well, cool. Oh, yeah, let me get this open properly. Yeah, I see it. Let me get it open here. There we go. Cool. Without the context, and this is just my own lack of knowledge, I get like vague Metal Gear Solid vibes from the front knife in the pocket. But yeah. Oh, nice. You've got good shading on metallics, I gotta say. I gotta figure that out. Awesome. And you've got a good signature too. Look at that line all the way through. Yep, that I believe. Well, cool. Thanks for always sharing your OCs. It's always cool to see what other people are coming up with. And especially what you come up with. You always got interesting stuff. Oops. Ah. Okay. Yeah, you know, at some point you just lean into it. Whoa. Okay, let's get some actual Kale colors in here and see what we can do about this. Start with this view. Let's see. So if we got our eye line sort of here. This. Sort of there. Okay. And what I'm trying to remember is to keep this as... I'm trying to take inspiration from those Pokemon items we drew a while back in order to make this like bold lines and not putting detail where it doesn't need to be. want to make this sort of simplified. While keeping the important details. Let's see. May even lean into this more in a little bit. And I'm gonna have to figure out a proper color palette for this. Totally forgot to prep that. Getting Kermit the Frog vibes from that, but that's okay. It is a place to start. Think this through. This music feels comparatively way too intense for what we're actually doing. Yeah, yeah, it just gotta let it happen and we'll see where all this ends up taking us. But yeah, that's what I love about this little plush toy. I want to make like actually finish off details and outfits and stuff for it, or at least draw it in different outfits and such because it's just great for poses. It's so fun with it. They're all so silly. That's still too close. And so just over the top. That'll work. I love a good pose. Let's make that one. Let's make this. I guess I'm gonna need to think through the layers a little more, but for now I'm gonna call this one fluff. Hey, it could happen. Let's see. All that coat. Kind of a stiff layer. And it really doesn't even go past. Yeah, it just kind of goes to here and then stops. But yeah, no, it's this one. I think when I first came up with this design, like way back when. Yeah, I know that pain. But yeah, no, this is design absolutely meant for silly poses and silly characters. Or silly versions of serious characters. Yeah, I like these bigger brush strokes. I'm going to really lean in on having kind of a chunky look for this one. Oops. Am I on an eraser? I am on an eraser. There we go. That's what we actually need. That. This is looking like one of the Breath of the Wild shrines a little bit. Just a little bit, though. Anyway. Uh, Actually, I'm going to try to be clever with this and see if I can save myself some pain later. By just cutting this out and making a layer called hat details. But I do think I may have gotten it slightly bad, because I actually need to cut that off of the fluff layer, don't I? Yes, okay. Hat details. Then let's see if we can't adjust line width up a few, because the line width that we want is 50. Okay. Gonna have to adjust line width up like 20 or something. It's a little silly. That was too much. let's try half of that. That looks more like it. There we go. And actually no major loss of detail or anything, so that's nice. The hat and hat details should be on roughly the same layer. Fluff should be below that, but above coat. Base template is where it is. That's good. Okay. Back at it. Hat details. And I don't want to get too caught up in these because I'm sure I'll rework stuff later. But that's just how it goes. Oops. Eyedropper, get this color again. Well, that might actually be a fold of the hat itself. We'll see. Oh, speaking of Breath of the Wild, this is a Breath of the Wild song. A little bit of a pitchy version of a Breath of the Wild song. This is also a Breath of the Wild song. Ah, yeah. You know, night routine and all that. It's getting late over there, so gotta get that stuff done. Let's see. I'm gonna have a go at the feathers, just so we've got something to show for today. We'll see how long I make it. Trying to fix my sleep schedule has got me so out of sync right now. It's driving me crazy. Yeah, we'll just have to add some accents to that. Around there. Yep. Other details, flip it to the one below it. Oh wait, I'm just doing... that's way too bold. That's okay. I'm gonna have to try to work on keeping my color palettes a little less hectic too. Because they're gonna get real out of hand with these. Way too out of hand for stickers. Especially with a character like Kale. Kale has a lot going on. More than most. And that's a tough competition in the Elden Ring crowd. There we go. Oops, not that. I need mask. Keep on with that. I shouldn't really be going for wrinkles just yet. I'll have to do the counter fluff on here if that's fine. Hmm. Right. Okay. Start with myself setting something down. I must be tired. Mask layer. I'm going to erase any of the stuff that's going through this. We don't need that. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's been any like proper good shows I've watched recently. Oh, Love After World Domination. The costumes are terrible and it's all cheesy silliness, but I gotta say it was fun. Definitely not grim or dark. Hey, welcome back, Dado. Ouch. Okay, let's see. Yeah, let's not worry about mask shading right now. Let's just get the shape of it in here. And it's going to be bookended by the hair anyway, which will have to be a slightly darker color from the original fluff color. Enough so to be distinct. This should be on its own layer. I'm just going to keep the layers super split right now, and then I can merge stuff later as needed. Let's start with something like this. And well, you know, I'm just roughing stuff in right now. We'll do cleanup later. Oh wait, no, those three ought to be on the fluff layer. And of course there's like the entire secondary fluff. It's all in this kind of off browny color. And we'll see if we keep it that way or we adjust. Hmm. Hmm. There you go. Now the mask is looking a little more correct. We'll do the actual face later, of course. Let's see, if we lose our template for a minute, this is at least... Well, it's got the details in the right places. We'll have to see once we get the whole body and do some, you know, obviously tweaking and cleanup and all of that jazz where we land. But for now, I am going to just, as you say, trust the process, see where it takes us. Oh, I should not do this on the mask layer. Yeah, you have a good, I guess, morning. And yeah, we'll be keeping this one up. This is going to be a more low-key month than Blender month. It was like high gear all the way, learning new stuff, constantly go, go, go. And we're approaching holidays. This is going to be a much more low-key month, I think. So yeah, you have a good one, and hope to see you sometime in the future. So yeah, let's keep it up with our chibi Kale going on in here and see where we go. Don't want to. Oh, yeah, once again, new layer. Let's see. Male slash belts. Be the pretentious French spelling of male. It's not pretentious if you're French. It's a little pretentious if you're not, and I'm not. But, try to keep this simple. And likewise with any chainmail. It's just going to be a gray anywho, so I probably won't even mess with it until we're doing flats, which is fine. Let's look at arms first, because I think that's actually the same material as the mask. Does he just have leather that looks really weird in firelight? Is that what that is? Now, it really does look like a purple, but that could be shading. But I'm going to kind of lean into it. Let's go with that sort of lilac. Not lilac, it's too dark for a lilac. And it's too blue for a porphyry, but it's somewhere in there. We'll figure it out. Looks like he's got chainmail on the, whoops. You know what? Yeah, let's actually use a reddish tone to contrast the purple. Or even like a goldy yellowish tone. It'll be a gray, but it'll still be a gray that's got a little bit of a highlight in it. Same with this side. This Great Fairy Fountain variant is just so high-pitched. That'll do for now. We'll do some cleanup. I'm just trying to rough in and see if this pose and all that even works. I definitely need like a sandy or yellow here. I don't want to lean into it too much, but I do want it to contrast a lot with whatever's above. Let's even lean into the world of yellow golds a little more. Eh. Maybe let's not. Oh, we're gonna go back to this one. This part of the color palette is tough because it's useful in a lot of places. But solo, especially if you lean towards yellow to greens, it ends up being like the nastiest colors. And I mean, it's like that old contest where they were trying to figure out like the nastiest color possible for cigarette boxes. The winner was one of those like pukish yellow greens. They're a rough color to use well. Okay. I want to make it clear the pants have got some like bulkiness to them. But I don't want to like waste too many lines on them, you know? I don't want to draw too much attention. And then I'll have the proper boots for the lower half of the leg anyway, so Kale's really going to just end sort of there and there. Ah, rats, I put the pants on the male layer. That's fine. I can just use our clever selectees. This is one of those places where the selection pen is so nice. Just grab all of this. And we'll keep going. We'll get this one. And up over there a little bit. Make that its own thing. And this shall be pants slash boots. That's how you spell boots. Let's try this again. This layer doesn't have anything meaningful on it, unfortunately. We're going to put away pants slash boots. Not going to let me right click. Okay. New pants slash boots. Alas, actually spelled correctly. A tragedy. Make sure I save this. It's been a little while. Okay, we'll go ahead and get that male color again because it's just. Well, it's really the. kind of that purpley tone. Which did I not? Oh, right, I did use that for the mask. Good. I could have sworn I'd found one that was a good facsimile of it earlier, and I was gonna be mad if I'd erased it straight out of the palette. Pants/boots layer, male/belts layer. Okay, that'll be that. Pants and boots. We'll just sort of freestyle it a little bit here. There we go, that lines up right. Boots. That's fine. Again, we'll see how close we stick to this template in the long term, but in the short term, maybe these will be kind of fun. We've obviously still got a lot of figuring out to do, but we've also got a lot of time to do it. The start of a fresh month. And a comparatively deadline-free month. Though not at work. Work remains busy as ever. And that busyness remains, to an extent, self-inflicted as ever. I don't like saying no to opportunities, so someone's like, hey, can you do this? My answer is like, yeah, let's try. And for some reason, they keep giving me things. And I keep sort of making it work. So overall, not the worst thing, really. I certainly enjoy the job. This should not be on the pants layer. Skin. Oops. Blender is so much more technical based and not technique based, and it's like I miss it. I can just get the precise math and make something work. I'm trying to get a good idea of Kale's eyes. Aren't they kind of golden in color? I think so. We'll make them match the pants. That way we're not adding more colors to this already extremely busy design. Now, if we really wanted to lean into this, we could give him button eyes. But I feel like that would give more of a Coraline vibe in an Elden Ring setting. Alright, now the question is, which layer are these old faces on? Whoa. Ah, they're on fluff. Hmm. I realize eyes don't technically count as skin. Or do they? I mean, a dermatologist would probably say no. Don't like that. That's kind of cozy. Ah, it is such a busy character design, which, to be fair, is true of the original. So I'm just going to have to be clever in colors and context, which is going to be tough on this. My one tool for... Okay. The one tool that I have for controlling where people's focus goes with Kale is not color, it's level of detail. The problem is, Chibi inherently forces more detail into the body because it's smaller and compressed. And on the flip side, Kale just has so stinking much going on in his design. Ay, ay, ay. Well, nothing to it but to continue onward. There, now the right click's working. Let's see. Lines. Make all that vanish with one. I don't want the base template in there, though. There we go. We got ourselves a Kale. So I'm going to first just try some bold color fills, see where that gets us. We're going to lose some detail, but that's okay. And we'll go from there. So, on top of all of this, there's a method to my madness. And I'm not going to get rid of the line work because I like the edges it provides. But I am still going to sort of work, like, we're going to try to make this into solid colors best we can. For now, we'll see how that looks and we'll adjust as needed. Because we're going to lose some detail from doing this. Okay, hold on. Let me check my fill tools settings. It's got anti-aliasing, but it's not very good. To the point where I'm skeptical if it has anti-aliasing. Alright. Reference. Fill up to vector path. Let's try not having that. Oh yeah, no, I definitely want it to fill up to vector path. Because it's fighting the actual anti-aliasing that, Okay, so a little context here. You see how these aren't just, like, one color actually? In order to have a smooth looking edge, it's actually got kind of gradient colors. That messes with the fill, because it doesn't catch those. Unless you really go all into it, and you can see it's slowly absorbing the things around it. Okay, yeah, we should undo before this corruption absorbs the entire design. So I do want up to the vector line rather than, so not the vector line, sorry, the vector path, which is basically a 0-pixel line that defines where the actual drawn vector follows. Aliasing. You say you have it, but man, it sure still has a lot of jaggies. I almost read that as like jaggles, which feels like a terrible like knockoff of the Wiggles. Whoa. Okay, I want less tolerance actually. I think? Yeah. Drop the tolerance real low. It still fills up to the vector line on those. That's okay. This means that when I'm doing these colors, I ought to do stuff in the background first, which is fine. Oh, tolerance was I want to reduce close gap. I don't. Really? It's like that's the opposite of how that should work, right? Like more close gap. Oh. Oh, I'm dumb. Even let me do 50 close gap on that? No, that's gonna mess with things. Okay, fine. Fine, some of this I'll just do with a pen. Okay. Yeah, this color fill method isn't working so far. Let's try to think through. I'm gonna do different colors. And maybe I'm just gonna brush it in instead of filling. It's been a while. Actually, hold on. We can go back to an old friend. We haven't used select tool for this in a while. It used to be what we did all the time. Okay, that's easy. Where do I adjust the side? Right. Wow, brain. Work with me here, bud. And we'll put the colors behind the lines. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There we go. Still gonna lose some detail, but we have a little more control over that at least. And with them behind the lines, where they should have been from the get-go, it'll make some stuff better. Figured that would stay there. Boom, there we go. We'll just keep on going until we've got something looking okay for Kale, and then we can tweak template, tweak styles, and tweak all sorts of other stuff going forward into next week and the rest of the month. I hope you all had a good November, by the way. It feels like it absolutely flew by for me. I mean, Blender was more work, but it was also just an absolute blast. I had a grand time with it. And then my job was crazy busy the whole way through, which is, I mean, I don't want it insanely busy, but generally speaking, I'd rather have stuff to do than not. Like, I'm, I don't know, I'm not going to say anything like obnoxious. Okay, no. I'm not saying I'm old school because that sounds pretentious towards anyone young, myself included, in this case. But I am also, I don't think this was true old school, but I'm the kind of person where like if someone's paying me to do something, I'm gonna do it right. Like I'm not I can't I've always been a perfectionist, teacher's pet type. I can't do something halfway if I've said I'm gonna do it, you know? 'Cause A, it's my reputation on the line, and B, I would feel horrible about letting someone else down. Truthfully, mostly the second one. It's just I don't know, it's how my brain works. And this is not some sort of humble brag. It gets me into trouble all the time. Because you can absolutely waste a ton of time trying to get something perfect and do it really well that didn't need it, and it causes you to fall behind on other stuff that's actually important. Like this is not a humble brag. It is frequently bad. Um, that said, this whole weird I don't know. I know the web has had this whole hullabaloo about quiet quitting, which is like not a concept or a thing. That's just having a job. I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do what I'm paid to do, and if there's like some occasional thing where it's like, okay, if I can stay an extra little longer and make life easier for me and everyone else by staying like 20 extra minutes today, fine, sure, whatever. Um, but otherwise, no, the norm should not be the default expectation that people are working well beyond their hours. That's horribly predatory. And not how honest businesses work, and it's not required for a business to work well. Like my job, I appreciate the heck out of it, but they're very serious about like we need to actually take vacations and pauses, and they care about work-life balance. And partly I'm spoiled by that. I don't deny that for a second. But like seriously, like the quiet quitting is just finishing work on time. It's not like some foreign concept or the kids are going crazy or whatever. It's just having a job. Now, obviously, one's responsibilities at the job will vary with time. And if you're like an executive, your responsibilities are higher. Um, at some point, like yeah, you have a higher salary, but that also comes with the cost of if you screw up, the company goes down. So then you need to be putting in more time. But if you're an entry level employee, like, put in the time that you are paid to put in. And, if there's extra stuff within reason that you can do to make stuff run better, do it. But don't, like, I don't know, don't work yourself to death in the hope that someone notices, you know? That's, they're just going to take advantage of that. Um, so yeah, it's about having an actual balance. Because remember, yes, the point of work is, especially if it's something you're passionate about, it's doing the work. Yeah, obviously. But also, the reason you do it isn't just to get money, it's to be able to do something with that money. Even if that something is just having food and a roof over your head, that is still, like, you have a life and an existence outside of work. Don't sacrifice that. Don't lose sight of the reason you're doing it. Don't sacrifice your goal in pursuit of the process. And that's not, obviously there's plenty of projects where you have to do that. Like, sometimes the process has to happen. But in terms of your life, don't give up the goal because you're dedicating too much time towards getting to the goal. Life ain't infinite. And, you know, I don't know. I'm not an expert. I've only had a job for like 2 years, if even. College before that. So, come back to me in 5 years. I'm sure my opinions will have changed. I just hope I'm not grousing about all them lazy kids. Because, one bad worker does not a bad generation make, and wanting to be able to live outside of work is a good thing. And it's something I'm confident that my bosses and superiors would agree with. Like, I'm fortunate that I'm in a place where I can live that way. And in turn, that does make me want to spend more time, like, actually committing to the company, because they seem to actually care about my well being, at least, you know, at least to that extent. But it is still a company, and at the end of the day, it's got its goals, and you've got yours, and they may not line up all the time. That's and someday you might have to make the call that nope, they're not aligned anymore. We've got to work somewhere else. And assuming that you can still put food on the table, then it's worth doing. I'd love to do streaming full time too, but like that definitely ain't putting food on the table in the next years, plural. And I still I like health insurance, but I also like the flexibility that having a normal work hours job gives me. The downside of creative and self-employed jobs is you end up with, like, if it's something you enjoy, then you're spending more time on what you enjoy. But if you're like me and you've got a bunch of different things you enjoy, you're going to have to commit all of your time to whatever you're doing. Like, it'll sort of crush out the other interests and hobbies. But I actually kind of like having a normal job that is reasonably enjoyable and reasonably healthy and balanced, that it gives me the chance to do the stuff I enjoy without having to overcommit to the stuff I enjoy. Because, if I was dependent on this stuff for a living, let me tell you, my art would, I mean, maybe it'd be better because I'd be obsessively practicing, but it would be a lot more stressful and not enjoyable to make. And I'm pretty sure that would show through. Like, pretty sure y'all would notice. It'd be really, really obvious. Um, Problem. The face and the hair are the same color. Kale, why? Kale, no. I'm not sure why the colors are still on top of everything when I know at the start of this I said they'd be at the bottom. Maybe it's because I want to do a grand finale reveal of what the final result looks like, but results are probably going to vary a little bit. Still, at least with this, we'll get a better idea of where our detail focuses currently are and where we need to do some tweaks. I almost just straight up forgot the belt and part of the chest fluff. Because, yeah, I do want to actually put some thought into the viewer's eye being able to parse what the heck this is. And with Elden Ring designs especially, that can be tricky. Like, don't get me wrong, there's designs that are far more convoluted and terrible, and some that are outright terrible. But, like, Elden Ring stuff, there's still a lot going on. A lot of detail they can get in 3D. Let's move colors to the bottom, shall we? Boom. There's a little bit I need to clean up. Stray lines on the mask. Stray red shirt in the collar. Stray... That leg doesn't look like it connects right in either version. What's happening with that? Oh, this whole thing? Okay. Let's go in. Fine, let's go into pants. Let's do this right. Pants and boots. Grab at this. Carry it all the way up. Whoa, okay. Nope, mistake has been made. Go to colors. And then I can carry it all the way up. But even then, still not as aggressively I was doing before. Like, what the heck was that? Hey, oh look, it's a Kale. Okay, yeah, let's do the actual other like line tweaks we need to make. As far as fluff goes, as far as coat goes, nope. Okay, that's just something I need to fix in colors then. Okay, that's easy enough. Oh, that one's a line issue. There we go. And this one's definitely a line issue on mask. So there's options here. Obviously, I want to clean up the face colors because that's not correct. We've got the skin tone and the hair tone. I'll have to pick one to prioritize. That's fine. Oop, let me... No, that's probably a fluff line issue. Yeah, I know that opens up something there, but that's okay. And I'll clean up the hair edges a little bit. But as far as a sort of like rough chibi Kale, that's not bad. This guy's got fun poses. I'm sure there'll be great ones for Ronnie. He's really good at like crestfallen poses. I'm trying to think if there's a good crestfallen warrior equivalent in Elden Ring because they love that in the Souls-likes. I mean, heck, your introduction to Dark Souls is one guy who's optimistic, and then you actually get to the place, and this guy's like, ha, everything's hopeless. Or this other guy's like that. Just like, well, aren't you just a barrel of laughs, dude? Dark Souls 3 Crestfallen dude, good arc, I enjoyed. He had goals, and he pursued them. I actually intentionally lost to him in a critical duel so that he could achieve his goals, and it made me very happy. Because his goals and mine didn't conflict, like, at all, which is rare for those games. Who's a good Crestfallen dude? Oh, yes. I know where the Crestfallen Knight lives in Elden Ring. Far to the southern peninsula. He has an arc too. It's less great. It is not happy, but I mean it's Elden Ring. Very few people get happy arcs. Shockingly, it's shocking to me that any of them do. There's two that appear that they do. At least sorta. Assuming a third guy doesn't backstab them, but yeah, you know, is what is. That's fine. Okay. I'm real sorry. I gotta use the restroom again. I'm gonna put this on pause for just a moment, and then we will jump right back in here, and we'll do some cleanup on the hair, we'll do some cleanup on the face, we'll discuss shading, but I'm actually kind of inclined to keep these simple right now. To the point where I may even remove some of the detail we built in here and fix whatever's happening there. You know, we'll do quick tweaking and cleanup for the rest of the stream, and the next stream, who knows, we might be able to get 2 of these done. If I've got a base pose I can build off of, and I'm okay with everyone having that pose. Or at least I've got a better idea of how to draw our little reference here. then yeah, we'll see what we can do. But until then, I'll be back in just a moment. Okie dokie, y'all. We are back. So we're going to do a little more cleanup on our old friend here today. And then, yeah, we will continue. Clean up first, yes. Sorry, gotta get my head right back in the correct scheme of things. First off, coat. What's happening here? Fixed. Um, oh, also, actually, I've got some proper color I need to fix here, because actually, colors-wise, um, can just toss that one. And this one, I want to grab this and fill in properly. So some lines to clean up, I see. That's okay. Go back to coat. Clear that out, cleared that one out. Let me also, just on the fluff, make this line a little more believable. We'll just make that like one little bump. In fact, maybe it's better to leave the fluff without these. That way it's kind of a distinct color. Draws the eye more. Because I want to draw the eye up as much as possible. We got a lot of detail down here. I'm trying to minimize pointless detail. I say that, of course, there's still plenty of pointless detail in all of this. But we can do a little cleanup. Whoops, that's not the right color. Okay with that one, but I do want the arm. It's going to be skin. Let's grab this and let's fix it up because it's got too much stuff encroaching on it. Is that in colors? No, it couldn't be. I guess what I have to do actually is make pants and not vector erase, but whoa, and not that big of a hard erase. There we go, that's better. That's the problem with vector lines, is sometimes they're a little stubborn around the eraser. And then on the pants layer, okay. Hmm. And maybe I do need to clean up like a little bit. The pen having like a long time before it recognizes a drag is a real drag. Okay. There we go. Arm. Better. Yeah, like some of this I can just solve by tweaking vector lines a little bit. That works. Could also rasterize it and just edit it that way. Turns all the vectors into rasters, just flat pixels, and then you can do whatever tweaking you want without the vector lines interfering. But of course, that's also without the without the vector lines assistance. So I realize I don't really have his cloak on in here. I'm kind of okay with that right now, though. See how that looks. Nah, the red definitely this part of the fluff definitely needs to continue on separately, or else it blends into the jacket too much. Let's see. Well, that's a little jarring. I'm gonna try to pull it back a little, but still. It's like, that's, well, maybe if we actually just continued this spike out, it'd be better. We can add one there. There we go. Hmm. There we go. And then I saw that little bit of coat back there still. There we go. Okay, so that's, I mean, obviously there's still stuff that can be improved. I'm okay with this form here. I think it actually gives it a little bit of dimension. Um, that's the closest thing it has to a heel, so I'll just leave that actually. Um, but yeah, let's sort out the hair a little bit because it's, obviously kind of scratchy, scraggly. Feathers, I'm actually also okay with these little white lines in the middle. I think that kind of works as a stem, and it's more than I want to otherwise bother with in terms of detail. The blue is too strong. The blue, it needs to be, it's the right tone. Or, that's not the right word. Here, I just need to mute it somewhat. It's too saturated. I know that one's kind of on its own feather details layer. Like, don't get me wrong, I love that blue. It's a beautiful blue. But we need, like, this sort of periwinkle-ish one, I think is more what we need right now. Wonder if I can get away with a fill on this. Nope, nope. It was worth a shot. And then we can use a smaller brush instead of the 12 and just do a little cleanup. Although, truth be told, if like a little bit of the other blue is still there around the edge, I don't really mind. It's not ideal for stickers. I'd have to clean it up for that. Because you don't want more colors than are necessary, strictly speaking. Although I'm not sure how relevant that is these days. It's not like we're dealing with old printers where you've got to manually do each layer such that more color is more runs. Yeah, see, that's a good blue. Plays a little nicer with some of the other stuff going on, too. But the face. I gotta solve the face. And the chest flap. Obviously, there's going to be a million and one places where there's room for improvement. That's always the case. But this is the one detail that, like, it looks okay, but it could look better. I don't know if... I feel like swapping the hair and face color will not solve it. But we can do a quick test. Alright. Oh, I see an immediate flaw with it. Okay, so that at least confirms that having it all be the same color definitely doesn't work. But then now if I try to do the darker color for the hair, the beepy doopy doo. Short term, I can at least fix some of this. Although actually, kind of works well as a sort of break gap between the hairs, so that's not too smooth there. And I like it being kind of ratty looking by having the multiple competing ones. Like, obviously, that's just kind of awkward brushwork on my part, but on a sticker scale, and whoops, and in the context of this, it adds a little bit of texture without actually adding too much detail, so I'm inclined to leave it. Maybe intentionally do it in the future, maybe not. We'll see. But for now, it's working, so I don't want to mess with it. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. So I don't muddle myself up too much. Grab this, and we're just going to throw it down. Alright, we had like a 12 going. Let's grab this one. I know there's plenty more of it around, but we can throw it down. What song is this? I'm sorry, I gotta check. Sounding familiar in weird ways. Nope, I've definitely never heard that one before. I've never played Link's Awakening. I'm not even sure which one Link's Awakening is. I uh, I don't know. I ought to try some more Zeldas at some point. But like, oh, I guess so. You know how the Switch has that like how the option to go back and play real old school games. Hey, I'd love to. It's not going to be on the Switch, but I'd love to play Final Fantasy One someday. I've heard fun things, and an old school, even badly balanced, figuring it out game is kind of fun to experience. I'm gonna add a color above this and map it to it so that I can do skin shade swap test. Because that should allow me to change the color of these. Oh. That line not... or is it just the colors is above it? Because what this should let me do is if those aren't in this... Oh, that's the hair. That's right. Okay. Well, I can still do this one at least. Oops. It'll allow me to only recolor these lines. I'm going to have to do it for the hair too for this test to work. So let's just... Oops, nope, not a vector one. We want a raster. I think either would actually work in this, but hair shade swap test. But, it's... In terms of just coloring in, raster makes a lot more sense than vector. Whoops, that was the wrong way on that. So we'll try making all of them darker lines, and then swapping the colors of the fills. Which to an extent I've done already. I mean, on the one hand, that is closer to the reference. On the other hand, it somehow looks drearier. Maybe it's because there's so much of the darker shade. The bell looks good. There's okay contrast between both of the reds. It could be better, but it's okay. Everything else is a nice level of saturation where it's not competing badly. The hair is the hair is the thing. Maybe if we do the same thing with this part of the fluff. Fluff shade swap test. Oh, so I have to be actually careful on this one to not hit the other fluff. Of which there is a lot. Okay. How does that work? I am torn. But I think I am inclined to go for this look for now. If I need, I can undo these and change the color fills. This is an option too, but it looks like he's got glowy hair highlights, or actually it looks like he has frosted tips, which is not exactly the goal. What I should do, however, make a new raster layer and try to, and we'll do an alternate swapped version so that we have both palettes available. So let me Undo, or, yeah, hold on. Skin shade, fluff shade, hair shade. Go back to the OG. And for this colors old, which I could call colors 1 at this point because the original colors is gone and no longer relevant. For this, okay, first off, we need to get rid of that. But for this one, we're going to go back to the old color scheme, just so that I have both available. I shouldn't have done that. Problem when you hold the brush down too long is the undo becomes far more powerful than you ever really wanted it to be. Like that. Okay. And don't forget, we'll get the little scruff of the cape down below too, don't worry. Right, okay, I got a little overexcited on that one, I'll admit. The fill tool could handle this just fine. But, yeah, we're at the end of the stream and there's something to be said for more pen control practice, the better. Also, I'm tired and I don't want to fight the fill tool if it fills something weird again. Then what I wanted to do, grab this. We can fill in the face once more. Okay, now that I sort of know where the barriers lie, at least a little bit, we can stay within them. Admittedly, I always kind of knew where the mask one was. It was super obvious. A little awkward that I went over that one too. Oh well. Okay. So, Kale numero uno. And then I'm going to close my eye over that one. I'm going to do the color swap. Kale numero dos. And they both look decent. I don't dislike either of them. Let's see. I think this kind of works. And it's reasonably simple. I could do less detail probably and still get away with it. In fact, I could do less detail and probably have it look better. But given how wildly complex this design is, I'm actually fairly happy with this simplification, especially given that it's been a little while since we've done one of these. So, I think it's looking like 9:57. I think we're going to leave it at that. Unless I want to try to do a real quick. Got a nice little fire there. I can just do a quick fire doodle. This is, I'll be honest, more for the thumbnail than anything, and there's a fair chance it's going to turn out so terrible that we won't use it. But that's okay. We'll try to keep it within his color palette, too. Although there is something ominous about the sticks being burned being the same color as his face, you know. Who knows what layer those are on. Just do this over here. I'm just going to sort of wing it. Some of these will be roughly in the same position as the originals. But it's a fire, and even if it started out stacked, this one's clearly been burning for the entire duration of the game. So it won't end stacked. That said, that's too much detail in one place. We'll just do that. We'll do like a little there. A little bit of funky flare. And cut off that edge a little bit. That's easy enough. Okay. I kind of want to break up the silhouette of this one in the front a little bit, so let's give it at least like one jag that's kind of popping out like that. There we go. And then I'll give it another layer. Fire logs, which, let's do fire logs color. And I'm just gonna do a real quick fill in on it. Don't even want to mess with the fill tool. I'm just tired and this will go fast. So much for breaking up the silhouette, but at least it's like partially broken up. There we go. And then we'll do just flames, which, I don't know, I've sort of got a way I usually do them, so maybe I'll just lean into that for now. I'm going to throw the flames behind the logs, though. I think that's going to give us a better... And then... With flames, you're really just going to kind of let them live. And do their own thing. I should have reset this back to the fill to vector line, shouldn't I have? I thought I did. Fill up to vector path. I did. Okay, then I have no idea why it's... I guess it's because these aren't vectors, are they? Okay, I'm going to have to do a little cleanup on that. That's fine. Really sure I said the flames should be behind the logs. Oh, right. Behind both. And then we'll do one more. Where did I put that? There we go. Flames, IL, YG. Ah. Orange glow and yellow glow, respectively, but I'm sure those probably have other meanings somewhere too that I'm going to regret. But that's okay. Okay. Let's not quite go sandy. Let's go a little bolder than that. Still low saturation, but just more yellow. But not quite to the green phase of yellow. Amazing how much difference we can get. I feel like my brain is starting to see more and more of the yellow color spectrum as being green. It's an interesting phenomena, but it's kind of annoying. I'm going to try to have this one sort of follow the below flames, but like not to a T. That'll be fine. I mean, it'll be really obvious, but it's fine. This is just like background decor. I wonder if that pants color would have been better. I'm gonna have to hang on to the color I got for his pants because that's one of the few tones or shades or I guess just full on colors, anything in that sort of part of the spectrum that I've gotten that doesn't look like vomit. And they're so hard to find, and they're really context based, so it may not work anywhere else. But even so, There we go. There, it fire. Very quickly thrown together fire in like 5 or 6 minutes. Yeah, not bad. Okay, that's going to do it for our stream tonight. We're definitely going to wrap up there. But catch us next time. We'll be doing this again. We'll be doing these all month, figuring out different stickers, different poses, maybe some other accent items to go with them. Should be fun. Should be a low-key, nice way to spend December with some fun streams. So, I hope to hear from y'all again, but if not, I hope you'll have a great, I don't know, rest of existence. If I do, I hope y'all have a great until next time, and beyond, obviously. But either way, until whatever happens, I hope y'all have an excellent night.